says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. And in verse 9, he says, for in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily. All the commandments that have ever been given by God, they were all dwelling with Christ. And so when Christ says that if you love me, keep my commandments, he did not give any new commandments. Some people often point out and say that, oh, Jesus said love your neighbor and love God beyond. And so Jesus gave 2 commandments. But would you know that those commandments were already given by God to the Israelites in the book of Leviticus and Deuteronomy, when he said, you shall love your God more than anything. And in Leviticus, he said, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And so Jesus did not give any new commandments. Why? Because in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily. So that all the commandments that were ever given by God were his commandments too. Now, having forgiven you all trespasses, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross. Exactly. Most of those things and most of those ceremonials, they were technically against the Gentiles. Because you see that situation in Antioch, where the Jews are saying that for a Christian, anyone to be saved, he has to be circumcised. He has to take part in all those ceremonials and festivals and services. But that is really an obstacle, because many people would not be very willing to do that. But the question is, how was the 7th day Sabbath against us? It was there when there was no sin. In no way do those things refer to the 10 commandments. You would not say that since now the ordinances and the laws were nailed to the cross, now we are at liberty to just kill anyone. Now we can just steal people's things. Now we can make idols and worship things. That is not a point of contention. The only question is that, why is the 7th day now being a point of contention? But anyway, you would understand, because people tend to categorize it and enlist it in that point that it was part of the ceremonials. But now we remove it away from the ceremonials, because that is quite clear. God has said, I did not command you in those things, but I gave you my laws, and I told you that obey my voice.